Streamer needs
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Tell me, Eddie, is that a rabbit in your pocket, or you just happy to see me?
Streamer needs to get their fucking shit together, because ever since I updated my goddamn laptop operating system, StreamYard has been acting like shit. I click on the video, and it thinks for like 10 seconds.
It played right away on my end.
It didn't on my end. It didn't on my end. So, but still, StreamYard needs to get their shit together. Anyway, thank you all for stopping by for another episode of the Cringe Factory. I got some doozies for you guys to go into. But first, I want to thank my co-host for joining me again, Steve Kenobi, because he's going to give us expertise on at least one of the topics, He-Man, because apparently they don't know when to shut up, pretty much.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, though.
Let everybody know where they can find you.
Twitter.
Oh, usually, there you go.
It's usually just pissing people off on Twitter. That's it. And on Alora's channel, OG Star Wars on Thursdays, talking about Star Wars.
Oh yeah, I'm one of the ones. Well, it's not on Twitter, but I'm one of the ones he annoys, and I threatened to send him Paltrow's candles as a result. But that's kind of the relationship that we have. He annoys me, and I threaten to send him Paltrow's candles.
Yeah, I need to come up with a threat. I know she likes dogs, but I'm not going to threaten dogs.
Yeah. You know? So yeah, he found that out during one of our D&D sessions. So, because we're playing, because that was like regular D&D. Now we're playing Conan D&D. So,
yeah, Alora stabbed a dog to shit, and Mara got upset. Pretty much, even though the dog was trying to kill Mara.
All right, I'm like my mom. In extreme circumstances, I will do it, but I don't like doing it. I don't like seeing it happen in movies or things like that. So I'm like my mom in that regard.
Making little notes.
I come by it honestly. Yeah.
Oh, nothing. I was just noting stuff down.
Oh, shit. Anyway, before I say hello to the chat, if you will notice in the description for this stream, I have two of Lethal Lightning's links, his live channel and his gaming channel, and he's trying to get his live channel in particular to 1,000 subs so he can monetize it. And YouTube has now, normally they didn't really do this or like used to do this, but now it seems that whenever you hit the year mark and you don't have meet the requirements to get monetized, they do remove your hours, and he figures that he'll lose a chunk of his watch hours, which he's already gotten through on his live channel, particularly the streams where he talked to Axel Braun, Kenzie Taylor, Seth Gamble, and Lacey Lennon, who are his porn director and porn stars respectively. So if you have not subscribed to either of those channels, I would appreciate it if you do click on those links and give him a sub on each of those channels. So there is that. I'm going to be letting anybody who comes into the chat later on know that as well. But like I said, I would appreciate it because he is trying to get those. He's trying to get those channels monetized, but he's trying to work on the live one first. So without further ado, I'm going to say hello to the chat, and then we'll go into the cringe. And you will be scratching your head with the first two articles. But from the top, we have Ricky. Won't be able to watch live. We'll have to watch all the hilarious cringe later. Hope you have a great stream. Everyone have a good time. TD is an awesome admin. Yes, he is. Thank you so much, Ricky. Hope you enjoy the rerun when you're able to watch it. Same with Naymans. We'll have to experience all the subjugation of women, quote unquote, from Black Widow and reruns as it's hockey night. Much love. Much love, Naymans. Hope you enjoy the rerun as well. Ox70. Scarlett had no problem cashing those MCU paychecks for about 10 years. She must not have minded the objectification that much. Well, yeah, she was willing to cash those paychecks. Hey, Trey and ScarJo has...
Oh, looks like she got disconnected. Well, I'll say hi to the chat until she returns. Hi, Trey Courtney. Hope you're well today. The same to you, Andrew and Cue Ball. Michael Cordova is in the chat. Hello. Tim F. Marcus Henry. Epstein's Ghosts is hanging around. Not on his own accord. Who else? Soul Assassin. Hello. TD is in the chat. Orange Chat Reviews. Steven Saucedo. Hope you're well today. And yeah, that's it. Well, until Maura comes back, you can, I don't know, ask me questions or something. Just a co-host, so I'm not going to start anything until you know, the host herself is ready. Hi, Dave Myers. Hope you're well today as well. There's a little announcement, though. I'm not sure if Maura's going to get to it, but the people who made the Terminator Resistance game has just released a teaser for an upcoming RoboCop game, which is called RoboCop Rogue City. It's going to be released in 2023. And it's the first mainstream RoboCop game to be released in 20 years. So fingers crossed it's good. That's it. My favorite color, Orange Hat, is purple. And hello to Miss Martin Muses as well, who is slapping a rose fiercely. Yeah, Maura just got disconnected. She's been having trouble with StreamYard, so we're just hanging out and waiting for her to return, which so hopefully it's going to happen soon. Maybe I've gotten a message from her on Twitter. We shall see.
I fucking hate StreamYards. I fucking hate it with a passion. Fuck StreamYards. Fuck them. Fuck Verizon. Fuck my Wi-Fi. Get your shit together, StreamYards.
Hi. I've already said hello to the chat. I was productive while you were away.
Well, thank you. But fuck StreamYard.
Mm-hmm.
It kicked me off. Didn't lose the Wi-Fi or anything. Fucking StreamYard just kicked me off and said that error message. Something went wrong. Well, guess fucking what, StreamYard? You're the fucking shit. That's what you... Ugh.
I'm so turned on right
now. I hate StreamYard. It took me this long to get back in. Anyway, as I was going to say...
I did the RoboCop announcements.
Thank you.
Were away. You're welcome.
Fuck StreamYards. Orange Eye Reviews, thank you so much. If you feel so strongly about it, she should turn in the millions she made off of it. Otherwise, she's a hypocrite. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Tim F., thank you so much. Andrew, hail Chad, hail Mara and Stig. Good evening. Cue Ball, hail. Good evening to you. Marcus Henry, thank you so much for stopping by. Epstein's Ghost. I am pissed. Sorry, folks. I am pissed. Soul Assassin. She-Ma'am. Yes. Pretty much is She-Ma'am now. Thank you so much, TD, for modding, and Orange Jet Reviews for modding as well. Appreciate it. And I think I saw Ms. Martin Muse is also in the chat also. So thank you all for modding. Making sure I say hello to the chat. Yep, I see that. Where'd I go? That's where I went. StreamYard just kicked me the fuck off. Ms. Martin Muses. There you go. Good evening to you. There's my message. I'm trying to get back in. McLean, so Steve, England or Italy? Did you answer this question?
No, I will be supporting England as usual, but I do believe Italy's going to win.
Okay, there you go. So there's his answer. He is going England. Yes, I hate StreamYard. I don't know what's been going on with it. Ever since I updated the software on my laptop, it's just been shit. Sogi. Talk nerdy to me, Steve. Yes. Yes, raging. Yes. Ranting. Yes, I'm ranting. There you go. So, yes, there you go. Angry Mara. Yes. There you go. The Sentinel, good evening to you. Beautiful when I'm angry. Well, There you go. Aiken, hail, hi all, good evening to you. Michael Quaid, hello, good evening. Alex McCarthy, howdy Mara and Steve, StreamYard's ass-ho. Somehow I blame Charles. Yep, we'll blame Charles this time. We'll blame Victoria as well. Because Rhino is Norton, pretty much. And Andrew and Alex gets that joke. Oh, Ola from Mexico, thank you so much. And I think I got everyone. Okay, if I miss anyone, I apologize. I was trying to play quick catch-up. So there is that. Hold on, I gotta click on something real fast.
You have milk money from Cowman as well.
Excuse me, what? Oh, Cowman, thank you so much. It just came in. StreamYard is ass-ho. Hail Mara, thank you so much, Cowman. If that is your name, we're not blaming you, Cue Ball. We're blaming Charles the cat, Rhino's cat. Because Raging Rhino has two cats, Eric and Charles, named after Magneto and Professor X's character. And so Charles, this is the story, Charles, while Rhino was playing COD or zombies called with lethal lightning, Charles turned off Rhino's Xbox. So basically we blame Charles for most everything now. So there's that. So ready for the first cringe article, Steak.
Yes.
Hopefully StreamYard listens to me. All right.
Well, if you get disconnected again, I'll just hang out and talk with the chat.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Steve. Appreciate that. Okay, first bit of cringe. Now, these articles are going to kind of tie together, and you'll see why after this first article. But now that Pride Month is over, here's where Marvel Studios is actively focusing right now. Working on not objectifying the MCU's female characters.
Well, nobody wants to sleep with them anyway.
No, they don't. And Michael Quaid says, for the rest of the stream, I want to identify as a midget who's really angry that people are always looking down on me. Well, hey, it's all about identifying. That's how you feel. If that's how you identify as, that no one can take that away from you in this environment.
I actually found something that ties into this. I put it in the private chat.
I did, and I'll share that as well. I'm not going to go click on the article, but I'll share the tweet that you posted. But here it is. Here's the first article. Marvel Studios is actively working to not objectify the MCU's female characters. So let's see what they are doing. So with Black Widow opening this week, a lot of attention has been paid to Marvel Studios' attempts to reverse its earlier depictions of Black Widow and do a better job on the character in her solo film. But the studio is looking past just improving its handling of this one female character, as an executive at the studio promises that they will be doing better with their female characters going forward in terms of avoiding the objectification of them. Victoria Alonso, Executive Vice President of Production at Marvel Studios, knows the checkered past of Marvel Studios when it comes to the sexualization and often dehumanization of female characters in the early days of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and she's making a point of avoiding the problems in the future. So that I reiterate.
Dehumanization? Really?
Yes, dehumanization. Yes, apparently they were dehumanized. Never mind that Black Widow, in her introduction as the character in Iron Man 2, takes out a whole hallway full of guys.
Yeah.
Takes out a whole hallway full of guys.
You know what? If you think about it, Black Widow is actually exploiting, the Me Too culture in a sense to get what she wants.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's basically sexualizing herself to get men to agree with her or do what she wants.
Well, that's the character. Basically,
yeah.
Basically using her sexuality to put a guy at ease, put him off his guard while she steals whatever she needs to off of him or kills him, depending on the target.
I actually did that the other day. I got a discount for a chocolate at the store.
Oh, I believe that, you hoe.
Yeah, I just opened my shirt a bit and showed some chest.
Dave Myers, Angry Mara would be huge on Twitch. I did actually rage a bit during during Resident Evil Village. I raged. I didn't break my controller as Ryan did, but I did hit it against my the desk I was using when I was playing. Mr. Bentham just got here. Hello, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Bentham. At ease or stand to attention? Well, Blake, why don't you go at ease for now, because you're going to have to relax during these first two articles. So there's that. So moving on in this article. Alonso referred to Natasha Romanoff's first appearance in 2010's Iron Man 2, which I just brought up, where Tony Stark looks at pictures of her online and says, I want one, after Pepper Potts responds to his inquiry. He says that after he sees her beat the shit out of Happy Hogan in the boxing ring. Not when he's looking at her photos. How? I'm not even a big Marvel fan. How the fuck do I remember this and not the fucking vice president of production? How? Am I wrong? I mean, I know, like, she steps into the boxing ring rather sexually, but steps into the boxing ring and takes on Happy Hogan.
Yeah, didn't Pepper tell Tony, that Natasha spoke all kinds of languages and just gave him the rundown as well? And then the ass kicking happened.
Yeah. Yeah, and then after the ass kicking, Tony Stark is impressed and he looks at Pepper and goes, I want one.
Yeah.
That's how the scene plays out. I mean, like I said, I'm not even a big Marvel fan. I mean, I like the earlier Marvel films, but at the same time, I'm like, how am I remembering that? And not this chick. Or the CBR writer. How am I remembering it? Hey, Tim Stock.
You know what it is, though? They're preemptively putting up a shield for the Black Widow movie because they know it's going to suck. Mm-hmm. And they're just putting all the markers in place so that, if someone says they don't like it, then, oh, yeah, it's because they didn't objectify Natasha or,
Yeah, they do.
Whatever.
The real Russians, yeah. They do that. They do that. Because I know that how women use their sexuality, and they use that to their advantage. So moving. Okay, I'm not going to bother. This is basically
look at Twitch thoughts.
Yeah. What's that? She's okay. Okay. This woman says, this vice president chick says, and I quote, "It bothered me then, and it bothers me now. I remember thinking she's not a thing, but apropos, the world sees a sexy woman and thinks that's because she is beautiful. That's all she has to give."
No, she has a hell of a lot more to give, like ass whooping.
Yes, and if you seriously had a problem with it, then why didn't you speak up? You're all about being a strong, independent woman, and 10 years ago you had a problem with it, and now all of a sudden you're saying this.
And Black Widow.
I don't buy it. I really don't buy it at all.
She used the same kind of skill to figure out what Loki was up to in the first Avenger movie. Mm-hmm. She was the one who figured it out.
Yeah, I mean, hell, she kicked in the first Avengers movie. She kicked these guys' asses while she was handcuffed or tied to a chair. Yeah, I said that. Yeah, he said, I want one after she kicked Happy's ass. I'm like, how do I remember that?
Which is literally a happy ending.
Yes. Open air-like policy. Good evening. I think beautiful women have more to give if they use their wiles to promote what they're really good at, then so be it. Yes, pretty much. And Marcus Henry for $5. Thank you so much. Black Widow was created to emulate Russian women spies during the Cold War. Yes. Russia literally, like Andrew pointed out, have programs where they use beautiful women, train them as spies, and then they send them out into Western countries.
Yeah, which is...
they do that.
I mean, even a lot of the Bond women are like that. I mean, Black Widow is pretty much pussy galore, right? Pretty much. And she was badass in Winter Soldier. Yeah, she's virtually signaling Trey. She pretty much is. So moving on. Why the hell did that person get any kind of, authority in a franchise like Marvel? It's staggering, though. Well, probably because she's a diversity hire. Yeah, it could Alonso be. Also noted. I said it. You said it could be. Mm-hmm. Oh, I would put even money. I would bet even money on that she's a diversity hire primarily. Now, she might have qualifications. I don't know this chick. I don't know what her qualifications are. But the way the political climate is now, the socio-political climate is, she most likely was a diversity hire.
And there might have been men who were more qualified than her, but because she's a woman and affirmative action and all that shit, she's the one who got hired.
Yeah,
Alonso also noted.
You know, the sad thing is that even if she is a diversity hire, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's qualified, maybe even overly qualified, that doesn't really matter because that's not why they hired her. Which is actually insulting to her and others, right?
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. Pretty fucking much. But to continue in this article, Alonso also noted that there's a reason why Black Widow is only happening now and not a decade ago. Oh, do tell. And I'm like, it couldn't. It was a different climate. I wouldn't have been able to have conversations about sexism with my director and see it actually translate on screen. Why? Wait, first off, no, it could happen a decade ago because people were fucking wanting it that long ago. They wanted it to happen during phase right after Iron Man 2. That would have been a perfect opportunity for them to do a Black Widow film because they just introduced her. She wowed audiences basically with her introduction, and you could have had her in a solo film. But you couldn't do it because there was no way to talk about sexism, which not at all belongs in a fucking Black Widow film, or any film for that matter, unless it's a third, fourthly feminist diatribe bullshit, which won't make jack shit, period. I hate this woman. I really do. I don't like her. I feel like I would punch her in the face if I ever saw her. When you say stupid shit like this, I feel like I'm gonna punch her in the face if I ever saw her. I need to find a picture of her so I know what she looks like. So while Alonso and Black Widow director Kate Shortland are the same woman who said she never read any comics and didn't bother to really read any to get a gauge of what the character is all about, are making sure to rewrite Black Widow. Shortland notes she was a character created for the male gaze. Initially, even the way she moved, the way she dressed, it was helpful as a stepping stone. She's a fucking spy, assassin. Like, what part of that did you fucking miss?
Yeah, and I bet you that lady did not complain about shirtless Momoa and Aquaman. Or Hugh Jackman.
Hold that thought. For a $10 super chat from Marcus Henry, thank you so much. Women spies tend to use their sexiness to get info. It's very common. Even the reasoning of her being called Black Widow is derived from the spider who attracts males, then kills them after mating. Fucking yes. Like how?
Actually,
like even in the name, even in the fucking name, how do they miss this?
I can confirm that actually works too. Because that happened to me, and my joystick was stolen. My Commodore 64 joystick was stolen.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't killed though, but yeah, that's what happened. A Russian lady showed up in a cat suit.
There you go. Okay, but it wasn't who she was. Yes, it was who she was. Now, one, she was not created. Well, she was actually created in a sense for the male gaze because if anybody's read any comics knows that female characters, much like the male characters, are, especially if they're superheroes and so forth, are like basically gods. They are physical perfection. So she was drawn voluptuously because she's a female spy. She's an assassin. She's going to use her looks. If she were a land whale, a blue-haired land whale, she would not be able to do the job. So
yeah,
she was created for that reason.
You absolutely need big tits to lay a booby trap.
God, Stieg. All right, but it wasn't who she was. Alonso is also rewriting the future of female heroes at Marvel, period. Alonso explains, I think there is a conscientious effort to not objectify women in the Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward. So the future will be more Black Widow and WandaVision unless I want one. You know what I say to that? That I've been saying repeatedly on other streams, and that is, I guess Pride Month doesn't matter anymore because you're taking away the gaze of bisexual women and lesbians.
Yeah.
They don't want to look at butch women.
They have the new She-Hulk now who looks like the Marshmallow Man on steroids.
They don't
That's-
want to look like I can't say the word, it's offensive. But they don't like looking at butch women. They don't. Even Anna was saying that she has like lesbian friends when I was on her stream last week, and even they were like they basically value looks to a degree because they want attractiveness.
Yeah, I have a lesbian friend too. She hates this shit.
There you go. See, well, there you go. Yeah, more female Brock Lesnar's incoming, pretty much. Abby Smash, Black Widow version, yes. This is also the same type of women who would praise the Twitch thoughts, yes, because female empowerment and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
Women use their sex appeal in every job, not just in espionage. There's a reason why Twitch thoughts make money. There you go.
Yeah,
But here's the kicker to this, folks.
They claim to pay
Anyway,
video games, but they just paint their tits instead.
There you go. But they make money because they use their looks.
Yeah.
Hey, Jared. Good evening to you. Hope all is well for you. All right. Now, I said, remember when I told you to hold that thought about how she most likely did not objectify Jason Momoa or Hugh Jackman or any of the other superhero, like the actors in the superhero films? Wait until you see this. Wait until you see this. Ready? Ready, chat?
I am ready.
Really? Fans complain more about Marvel films objectifying men than women, says studio exec.
What?
I told you that these two are kind of tied. So basically, they're fighting against objectification of women, and according to a studio exec, fans complain more about the objectification of men than the women.
Okay.
You can't make this shit up. You can't. So let's go into this one. A Marvel Studios executive surprisingly revealed that the studio receives more complaints about the objectification of men in their films than women. The release of Black Widow has given Marvel Studios a chance to look back on its past depiction of women, Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow in particular, and question where it made some mistakes in earlier films and how to address them going forward. But what's fascinating is that Marvel Studios executive producer Victoria Alonso says that the studio gets more complaints about how it objectifies men over how it objectifies women. The same fucking chick who's all about fighting that female objectification moving forward.
So she's retarded then.
She pretty much is. She very fucking likely doesn't believe the shit she's saying at all. Hey, Phil. Good evening to you. Look at this. Same fucking chick is saying they get more complaints about how they objectified the male characters than they do the women.
You know what's even sadder though? That a lot of people actually still pay for this crap. They pay money for this.
If you like the Marvel films and the shows, more power to you. I'm not going to judge anybody for their tastes. It's all subjective.
I will.
But look at this. I shit you not. I saw these two articles. I started skimming through it and I'm like, this is a gold mine.
Yeah.
This is looking hot. Thank you, the Dreamer. Looking hot and people appreciating someone looking hot doesn't equate to thinking of them as objects, in my opinion. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Just makes them horny.
Pretty much. The fact came up in a recent Time article where Alonso reflected on how she was not pleased with how Black Widow was introduced by Marvel back in 2010's Iron Man. We kind of went into that in the other article. Okay, I'm not going to go into that. Victoria Alonso, Executive Vice President of Production at Marvel Studios, was irked at the line, basically the I want one line sort of a situation. Therefore, in a piece about how much work Marvel is doing to avoid objectifying Black Widow in a new film, it is fascinating that Alonso adds that the studio receives more complaints about objectifying men than women. She specifically cites those shirtless scenes as what people complain about. Presumably, Alonso is referring to Chris Hemsworth's shirtless scene in Thor Ragnarok.
She
So,
would
they can work
she would have a brain aneurysm if she read some of the old Conan comics I've been reading, because Red Sonja is in a chainmail bikini, and Conan is like that.
Yeah.
Well,
There you go. So, like I said, or perhaps the shirtless fight between T'Challa and Killmonger in Black Panther. So here you go. Another shirtless scene. Or perhaps the jokes about Captain America's butt. However, as the article notes, such complaints sure sounds like it's fair to assume that any flack along those lines has more to do with sexist double standards in society than with the studio having a worse track record with men than women. No. It just means people are fucking retarded.
you know what?
Who are
they
running
should
Marvel
do?
Studios right now. Yep.
The people who complain about the women being sexualized, and the people complaining about the guys, right?
Mhm.
They should just tell them to fuck off. It's really
Pretty
that
much.
simple.
Pretty much. They should. They should. Like, you know how you have these people that like to like say to us whenever we criticize like what we're seeing in entertainment and the like that we grew up with, and they're like, well, if you don't like it anymore, don't watch it. That's what they should be telling these people. If you don't like it, don't watch it. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Don't give it money. Don't give it time. Don't give it anything. They're the people who are telling us that are the ones who do that very thing.
If this was a big part of the audience that's complaining, then why the hell are the movies flopping them when they cater to them? It's the same with
that's a $64,000 question.
Yeah, Rise of Skywalker, right?
Mm-hmm.
The third in a new trilogy. It has Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill in it, and Lando makes a return. It barely broke $1 billion. It should have been.
And they had to been in theaters longer than they normally would have, just so they could.
Yeah, and
arguably did break $1 billion, but they had to do that. So
it should have been breaking 2.
Yeah. See, the different, like, what I compare it to is like in terms of how it should have gone, is it should have been like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, where each progressive film made more than the predecessor.
Yeah.
By the time you got to Return of the King made the most out of all 3 of them, and that's what the Disney trilogy should have done.
The same with the Star Wars prequel trilogy. They made more and more too.
So there you go. That's certainly how it's supposed to work. You're not supposed to make successively less. So, yeah, I know it wasn't she necessarily. It was a CGI version of her, but still they had Princess Leia character. So you had Princess Leia, you had Luke Skywalker, even as the Force Ghost, and you had Lando Calrissian.
And you have 2 seconds of Wedge.
Yeah, fucking hell.
Who
he's going to get butchered in the Rogue Squadron movie.
According to Disney canon, Wedge had to retire due to injury after the Battle of Jakku. So he was just a flight instructor after that. So what the hell is he doing in Episode 9, right? Flying an X-Wing when they just said it's canon that he can't fly anymore?
Yeah, fucking hell. They don't even follow, like, canon is loose there, because apparently, according to Matt Smith, canon doesn't matter.
Yeah, says the guy in charge of canon.
Yeah. So basically, I saw those 2 articles, and basically just thank Christ that they're working on not objectifying female characters, even though they receive more complaints about the objectification of male characters. Pretty much.
So basically, every Marvel character from now on is going to be wearing a one-piece.
Or, like, the men are going to be fully clothed, so you're not going to see their chiseled abs, their muscles, even though they're superheroes, and the women are going to look like Abby or basically the feminists you see out in college campuses that that complain about men being pigs, and then in the same breath wonder why they're not getting dates.
You know what though? I made a discovery about that, and I think I'm ahead of the times. Because you know women like guys with washboard stomachs, right? But nobody has used a washboard in many decades, and I realized if you have a dishwasher, you get this ball that you fill with soap. So that's the modern one. So if you have like a stomach shaped like that, you're ahead of the curve.
There you go. I think that's what you tell yourself, Stig.
Yes, I did.
Hey, Master of the TDS. Hello. Said I would stop by if I could, and so I did. Good evening to you, and hope you enjoy going back and watching a little bit of the replay, because there's an article before this. After I say hello to Benzo. Hey, Benzo. That the same studio executive in this article that I just covered, Master of the TDS, who's saying that they receive more complaints about objectifying men than women, is the same chick who's saying, moving forward, Marvel Studios will work to not objectify women. So there you go.
It's being turned into the Amish cinematic universe.
Well, there you go. Here, Dreamer says, I demand Little House on the Prairie outfits.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to turn into. That's what it's going to turn into. But there it is. Like I said, two articles kind of connected, and the same chick in both articles who is admitting they get more complaints about the men than the women, but they're not focusing on that. They're focusing, which they shouldn't have to, but they're focusing on working to not objectify the women in the future in Marvel. Well, they cast Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, so they're already well on their fucking way there. There you go. So, let's put it this way. And no sense of direction, pretty much. But, so what do you say to those two articles, Steve? Basically sum up your reaction to them.
That Alonso woman is fucking retarded and should never be near any decision making for any franchise ever. And I'm gonna laugh when the shit she's doing is flopping. And anyone who pays for this are retarded too. I said it and I meant it.
Is it women complaining about men being objectified? I can't imagine men making these complaints. The only way that I can imagine men, and I say men loosely, making these complaints are the soy boy beta types, the feminist allies, making the complaints because they are they develop an inferiority complex in comparison to what alpha males look like.
Yeah, because they were the ones to get picked last in gym class and whatever, so they have PTSD from that.
Yeah, they're the ones that were targeted in dodgeball first because they couldn't throw a ball well. People who complain about women being sexualized in the MCU never read a comic in their life, pretty much. Yeah, the cucks, pretty much. Those are the only men I could see that would do that.
Isn't it ironic that liberals are all for suppressing sexuality? That's kind of
they're supposed to be the progressives.
Yeah,
and they want to take away sexuality for both men and women.
You know what? 15 years ago or something, when Mass Effect happened, there was a huge uproar in the media because Mass Effect 1 had a sex scene and you got to see Liara's butt for 3 seconds. Huge uproar, and that was going to damage the kids and stuff. And that was all over Fox News. It was the conservatives that threw a fit.
Yeah.
Now it's flipped.
Yeah, now the liberals are doing it.
The liberals are defending the removal of Miranda's ass in the remake.
Yeah.
So it's come full circle.
I will say this. I try to stop using the word liberal because they've hijacked that word. They're leftists, pretty much. Yeah. They are the extreme left who are now defending censorship, and they're the ones who are all supposedly about freedom of speech and individualism and things like that. But only if you goose step to their groupthink.
Freedom of expression, as long as you don't express any sexuality.
There you go. Pretty much.
Unless it's a pronoun thing in your bio, then it's okay.
Here's something directed to you, Stig. Is it too much to bet that Black Widow earns $25 million in its opening weekend?
Isn't it being released on Disney Plus as well? But you have to pay extra for it.
You have to pay like $30, I think, for it.
Yeah, that's overpriced.
For an individual, yes. If for a family of 4 that might stay home rather than go to the theater, it's pretty cheaper.
You know what though? I think since cinemas and stuff are opening now after a year and whatever, I think a lot of people might be a bit starved and will go to see this. So I think
become Puritans, yeah.
I think maybe even though the interest for the movie is kind of low, the interest for actually going to the cinema is higher.
So we'll see. I mean, I'll be keeping an eye on it. Like I've said in other streams, that at one point, like last year, my interest has peaked enough that I would have gone to see it in theaters, and now it's finally getting released over a year and a half, like about a year and a half later, thereabouts, and I'm like, I don't care anymore. I really don't care about this movie anymore, and the marketing is not helping. And yes, chances are, I haven't seen the movie, but if it's anything like Birds of Prey, chances are there's like nothing like this in the movie. It's just the marketing's going to kill it. Because they're doing this stupid shit. Like this tweet here, same fucking chick, Victoria Alonso, says more LGBTQ representation is coming to the MCU. Quote, "We're not going to nail it in the first movie or second movie or third movie or the first show or second show, but we will do our best to consistently try to represent."
Yeah. I'm thinking it's going to make less and less money, though. But, yeah. You know what? I think the Black Widow is going to end up at around 500 million at the most.
We'll see. That's I don't know what the budget is. I'd have to look up the budget for it to see what they would need to break even, but I'd say 500 million is probably a little bit more than breaking even. But I'll see. I need to know what, like I said, I need to see the budget and figure out, based on the budget, what the marketing is, because the marketing is generally half of what the production budget is.
Yeah, I think the rule of thumb is it has to make 3 times the cost of the movie to be considered a success. If it makes double the cost of the movie, it breaks even. Yeah,
that's where I was saying, basically. But you also have to factor in the marketing. But there really wasn't any marketing for this movie in terms of like what Marvel normally does.
No.
So I don't think that would necessarily be a factor. So all I would really have to do would be checking into the production budget and figuring out breaking even would be like double it. But I'd imagine I can see the budget being at the most 200 million. Based on like location, filming, and things like that, and special effects, but
they actually filmed quite a few scenes for Black Widow, 30 minutes from where I live. So they've been in Norway.
How do you nail representation? What the fuck does that even mean?
It's basically representation.
Yeah, if you're just joining, Metal Mugen, if I'm mispronouncing that, I apologize. This chick, Victoria Alonso, is the vice president of production at Marvel Studios. In the first article I covered, she's talking about how they are going to do better in fighting against the objectification of women in Marvel movies moving forward, with Black Widow being the first one. Then in the second article, this same chick is admitting that they receive more complaints about the objectification of male characters than they do the female characters. Now this, the same woman who was saying, what is a good comparison to this? What's a good comparison to this? I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a good comparison, but basically she's saying like, it's like, we'll do it. We'll do it. Representation is coming. Representation is coming. Is it June yet? Representation is coming. Is it June yet?
Oh, you know what it sounds like? It sounds like, the certain people claiming Kathleen Kennedy will be out.
So, yeah. Representation has become pandering. Yes, it has.
I have to address Trey Courtney in the chat, who just proved he's a man of excellent taste. He says, I'll watch The Long Kiss Goodnight instead, which is a superb movie.
Yep. And this is the MCU now. Right, Trey. Benzo says, don't let Dune turn to Disney Star Wars. Well, they race swapped a character in Dune who is arguably a tertiary character. Max von Sydow played the character in the 1984 version, but I believe he is the father of Chani, who is now played by what's that chick's name who played MJ in the MCU Spider-Man movies?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, it's played by her, and she's biracial. She has a black father and a white mother in real life. And so basically they race swapped and gender swapped Max von Sydow's character. Zendaya, thank you, Benzo and McLean. They race and gender swapped Max von Sydow's character, and that character dies a horrifying death, pretty much. Now, are they going to do that in the movie?
I don't know.
Kudos to them if they have the balls to do it, but I'm feeling like they are not going to do it because, again, it's a race and gender swapped character, and they're all about inclusivity and representation, and you can't do that to those characters.
Actually, remember the Jurassic World movie when the chick gets eaten? People raced hell over that.
Oh, I remember. I never saw the movie. I know the scene you're talking about, the one where she gets picked up by a was it pterodactyl or a pteranodon, one of the two, and eaten by that
fish.
Oh yeah, but I can't remember what that creature is called. Anyway, the pterodactyl, it's like she swallowed along with the pterodactyl, basically.
Yeah, and people raised hell. That's offensive to women, and she was killed like she was nothing. Blah blah blah. And it turns out the actress was the one who suggested it. She wanted to be eaten by a big beast instead of just being. And
a mosasaur is one of the biggest beasts you could have.
Yeah, I think she was gonna just be dropped from the sky and just die from the impact, but she had suggested being dropped into the mouth of a dinosaur.
Well, there you go. And people were like, how it's like the most unnecessary death, and I'm like, you haven't watched a lot of films, have you?
It's a monster flick. People are supposed to get stepped on and eaten, and
I'm like, you haven't watched a lot of movies, have you?
Yeah, it doesn't even matter the gender. It's just fun to see people get eaten.
It's kind of like slasher films where you don't connect to the characters because they're pretty much fodder for the slasher himself, and they're generally he's like Freddy, Michael, Jason, Pinhead, Chucky, and so forth. You don't really root for all the characters to survive. You kind of root for most of them to die.
Yeah, basically, you just sit there guessing who's going to die first.
Yeah, and those two had sex, they're going to die. That dude's a drug, he's doing drugs, he's going to die. Because you basically follow those tropes in the classic slasher films.
Oh, yeah.
So you're calling, he's going off by himself or she's going off by herself, they're going to die. Okay, you're calling it as you're watching it happen. That's what you do. You don't watch a slasher film and then complain about a needless death. It's the same shit.
You know what's actually fun, though? When you start watching a slasher movie for the first time, just make a little list of who you think is going to get killed first. And just see how correct you are, right?
I will give you this trait. Halloween is one of the few exceptions where you actually care about the characters. You do kind of basically care about her friends because it's a confined enough cast that you do actually connect to them. So it's not like the later slasher movie, like films like the Friday the 13th series, where you have a bunch of characters essentially.
Yeah, which
And
is why
where one-dimensional, you don't really relate to them, and you just watch them get picked off by Jason.
Jaws works so well, because the three characters and the wife, I guess, are very, very human. You know, they're fleshed out and they're given actual motivations. You know, unlike most horror movies.
Oh yeah, it's interesting that you say the Soul Assassin, because I also brought up, I think on Anna's stream recently, and I think the Friday the 13th that they were working on, I think it's pretty much dead in the water now, because I haven't heard word one of it since last year at least. But they were going to have an all-female cast. So Jason was going to go after an all-female cast. So you would either have people complaining about women beating up a disabled character, because he's disabled.
Oh yeah.
Or toxic masculinity, because he's going after the women. Because that's what happens in slasher movies. They fucking die. They don't all survive. They don't all survive.
If you think about it, the killer in most slasher movies are all definitely on the spectrum. You know?
Hold this. I'm going to see if I can find something real fast. I'll be right back.
Okay. I'll entertain the chat. Correct, movie Metal Rock McDonald. It's an animal. It doesn't care if the human is male or female. It's just meat. It's eating food. Correct, Soul Assassin. You can't win with those maniacs. They're pissed at anything. Yep. It's basically be the loudest and be first on social media. That's what it is. It has nothing to do with an actual complaint. It has everything to do with being seen complaining on behalf of others to score virtue points. It's almost like a case of self-painting, isn't it? Painting themselves to be something else. They manufacture a pedestal to stand upon, and then they just paint a pretty picture of themselves by complaining on behalf of others who never even complained about it in the first place. It's also called narcissism. Let's see what else. Yes, Blake, those kids should have been eaten too. That's one of my gripes with monster flicks like that. The kids always survive. So every time the kid is almost eaten by the T-Rex or something, you don't really care, because it's not going to happen. At least in the movie, the Blob. Well, one of the kids got eaten by the Blob.
There's I can't find it. I don't know what I did with it. I have it somewhere, but it's a Spanish film, and it's a female slasher. It's a female protagonist in that regard, and I can't remember what it's called.
Is it the one with the porcelain mask?
No, it's a bizarre plot. It's a bizarre plot because it also involves her victims coming back to life.
So she's bad at her job then.
No, it's a bizarre plot because, God, I can't remember what it's called. It's a Spanish film. She's good at her job, but the guy that she's dating, sleeping with, whatever you want to call it, he works at a lab, and they develop something which somehow makes people come back to life. So her victims come back to life in that regard. And she and the guy she's sleeping with have to fight off the quote zombies. So it's kind of like a slasher flick meets a zombie flick. And it's a Spanish film, and I can't remember what it's called. I have to try to find out I gotta try to remember it, but it's the one and only film I remember off the top of my head where it's a female slasher.
I saw one about 10 years ago. Where the the killer was a female. She was using a knife. I think it was a razor blade or something. And she was wearing like a porcelain mask or something. And I think she was killing people because she had been disfigured in the face or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was though, but it wasn't that bad.
Yes.
Really. If someone in the chat knows which movie I'm talking about, please let me know because I've been looking for it.
I don't know. I'm gonna try to like look it up, see if I can find it. Because I know I have it. I bought it. Hold on. See if I can come up with. It was a bizarre film. It was a very bizarre film. And I'm going to, like, closer to the end, when we start wrapping up, I'm going to go back to my DVDs and see if I can try to find it. Because I know I have it. I don't think I wouldn't have gotten rid of it. I know that. I can't remember what it's called. And yes, I will, like, try to get you that information. But like I said, it's a bizarre film. I don't know how easy it is to find. It's one of the few that I remember. But anyway. No, it's not, I don't know if he's talking to you or what, but it's not that to me. I don't know if he's talking to you, Stig. Is this what it was called?
It could be. I don't know.
Okay, so there it is. When we start wrapping up, I'm going to go back to my DVDs and see if I can find it. But I found this article on Bounding the Comics. Now, I think ScarJo's comment can be interpreted, but it looks like to me that she's possibly doubling down. And I will show you the article, and we'll get into that. Where is it? Okay, this is on Bounding the Comics, and it says Scarlett Johansson doubles down on Me Too marketing for Black Widow. Actress Scarlett Johansson. I have Scarlett twice. What's the point of paying editors? Scarlett Johansson doubled down on her Me Too-inspired marketing for the upcoming Black Widow film. Most recently, Johansson spoke with Time for an article decrying Black Widow as a, quote, sexist stereotype. The actress stated, in the beginning she was used as a kind of chess piece for her male counterparts.
Which is dumb.
But they also point out in this article that, yeah, she was used, but she worked for Nick Fury because he used her assets to advantage, pretty much. Now, to give Johansson the benefit of the doubt, it's unclear in what context the comment was made. However, Time's Eliana Doctorman, who has a history of attacking superheroes, implies that it was made as a criticism of the character and her previous appearances in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And if that is the case, it makes absolutely no sense, because Black Widow was indeed a chess piece to one of her male counterparts, and that is Nick Fury, because, shockingly, she actually worked for him, and he aptly used her skills on a number of missions, including recruiting Bruce Banner and Tony Stark into the Avengers. So there's that. She was not a chess piece to anyone else. In fact, Iron Man 2 makes it clear she's not a chess piece for Tony Stark, as she reveals she's an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and her whole purpose of getting close to Stark was on orders from Fury. In Captain America Winter Soldier, she's not a chess piece for Cap either. The two actually work together in order to stop Hydra. Then in Captain America Civil War, she plays both sides and eventually helps Captain America acquire the Quintjet at the airport scene. So I'm not... Like, if she's doubling down, then it's stupid, because you have like at least these 3 examples that they gave where it shows it she wasn't used as a chess piece for her male counterpart. She basically was her own character.
Yeah, that's what I always, saw it as. She was a character, same as everyone else.
Yeah, she was, and like I said, like the only guy she worked for was Nick Fury, and well, that's because Nick Fury was leading the Avengers Initiative. So the Avengers worked for him. It wasn't just Black Widow. It was Captain America. It was Iron Man. It was Hawkeye. It was the Hulk. It was Thor to a degree. Let's put it this way. Falcon eventually joined. I mean, in the comics, that would have been included Spider-Man, but he's still a teenager here, and so forth. And they all work for Nick Fury. So the actors are going to be offended if they win for supporting role now? Yeah, pretty much. And Trey Courtney's like, fuck off, well, ScarJo.
If she has a problem with it, she should just give the money back then, donate it to, the Women's Society.
Yeah, like donate it to some charity organization like focused on women, and just like give your paycheck to that. If you truly believe in the shit that you espouse, then you would give up your paycheck. You would give it up, or you would spread the wealth and share it with the women on the crew who work on the movie. But she's not going to do that shit, is she? No, she's not. They don't believe in that. They truly don't believe in that. More recently, in Avengers Endgame, she became the head of the Avengers and was organizing operations across the planet following Thanos' attack because Nick Fury was gone in the snap. She would eventually sacrifice herself, a choice she makes in order for the Avengers to acquire the Soul Stone so they can produce an Infinity Gauntlet of their own. So in one sense, she might have been a chess piece, but that was in her duties as a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent under Nick Fury. Otherwise, she's made a lot of her own decisions and has been key in helping the Avengers succeed. All you have to do to know that is to watch the actual movies. Which, did ScarJo even do that? Did she?
Nope.
I don't know. She starred in them, but did she actually watch them? The comment comes a couple of weeks after Johansson's commented on Black Widow's hypersexualization in Iron Man 2 that were reportedly made back in 2019 and recently published by Collider to promote the Black Widow film. So she had no problem doing it about 10 years prior. No problem doing it about 10 years prior.
Nope. Because she can cash in on it again in terms of victim points.
Mm-hmm. So, like I said earlier, chances are there's nothing like this in the film. Chances are, no, I haven't seen it. I really don't plan on watching it, but if it's anything like Birds of Prey, chances are there's nothing like this in the film. However, the marketing is going to hurt it. The marketing is going to hurt it. And all they have to do is look at Birds of Prey and see, hey, maybe we should just shut the fuck up and let people decide if they want to see it. And just say, hey, please see our movie. That's all they have to do is, please see our movie. We hope you enjoy it. That's all they fucking have to say. That's all they have to say. But they don't do that. They do this shit. And then they don't wonder because they do this with calculation. They have a built-in defense if this movie fails, and that must be because sexist men did not go to see it. They're setting it up for that.
Yeah, well, guys are literally being told, it's not for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, if it's not for me, then I probably won't get anything out of watching it then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Roger H with a $1.99 super sticker. I can only assume it's the thumbs up. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Appreciate it. And I'm going through this article. I'm going through the other one, and it's just mind-boggling. She was asked by Collider, there's a sort of sexualization of superheroes. How did that affect Black Widow? And Johansson responded, yeah, it definitely has changed. And I think part of that change is probably, it's hard because I'm inside it, but probably a lot of that is actually from me too. I'll be 35 years old and I'm a mom and my life is different. Obviously 10 years have passed and things have happened and I have a much different, more evolved understanding of myself. Don't you love when people say they have a more evolved understanding of themselves? Basically, it means I'm reading the political atmosphere, and I'm playing lip service to the people that are not going to cancel me, or the people that I hope don't cancel me.
Didn't she get in trouble for saying the opposite just a year ago?
Yeah, I mean, she also got in trouble because she said that, basically to the extent of when she was originally cast to play that trans character in a film, and people were up in arms in it because she's not an actual trans. She's like, "Well, I'm an actress. I'm an actor. Like, we're kind of hired to do that job." And then she kind of walked it back a short while later. But that's what she got in trouble for, because she said, like, "I'm an actor. I'm an actress. That's what we do. We literally get paid to pretend to be these characters. We're not actually these characters." It's like the people who got upset that Bryan Cranston is not a genuine paraplegic. Like, where are you going to find a genuine paraplegic who can act? I'm fucking sorry, people. You can't. Are you going to try to comb the earth to find an actual deaf and dumb actress to play Helen Keller? That's the state that we're in right now. From the Charizard.
You know what? I think it's in England. I just saw an article. Star Wars and Flash Gordon among films given stricter ratings due to rise in complaints. And they're doing this to tackle discrimination wherever it occurs. So now movies are actually getting a higher rating based on the fact that it didn't cater to people. Do you want the link?
Ironic.
It's really
Star
good.
Wars is mentioned. That's the same company that removed John Boyega from the poster for China.
Well, it's not Disney that's doing it. It's
I know that,
BBS.
but I'm saying like it's. I'm not saying that Disney is doing it, but at the same time, it's like they are one of the worst offenders when it comes to discrimination, especially when it comes to kissing China's ass. Did she like thing in the Don Juan movie?
I
don't know.
They're changing the rating in Rocky as well because it has domestic abuse, which is when Paulie throws the damn turkey. That's domestic abuse. A drunk guy tossing a turkey.
Really? Oh my god.
Yeah, the Lord of
What?
The Rings extended because it has threats in it.
So fucking stupid. She went on as a woman. I'm in a different place in my life.
Shit! Holy.
What?
They're changing the ratings due to movies having discrimination in them by today's standards. And it says the issue of discrimination is one of the core issues set in our guidelines. And in 2020, the tragic death of George Floyd and subsequent Black Lives Matter protests showed us how important it is that discrimination be tackled and flagged up wherever it occurs. So they're flagging movies because of George Floyd.
Mm-hmm. Well, the entertainment industry is pretty much just about dead.
Yeah. Rocky is a problem now because of George Floyd, literally.
She went on, as a woman, I'm in a different place in my life, and I felt more forgiving of myself as a woman, and sometimes probably not enough. I'm more accepting of myself, I think. Why do people say, like, okay, men in the chat, do you say as a man like that? Do you say as a man, I'm in a different place in my life, I felt more forgiving of myself as a man? Like, do you honestly say that? I don't, like, as a woman. I don't even fucking say that. I just say I'm in a different place. It doesn't matter that I'm a fucking woman. You evolve, basically. You in a way, because, like, you're not the same person you were when you were in college. You're not the same person you were like from your 20s to 30s. You do change, but I don't say I like as a woman I did this. No, I say as a person I did this.
Yeah.
I'm like that's what I say. Like, you know, do you men? Do you say that? Maybe okay, putting it maybe as a father, yeah. Like if you were actually like a title, like as a mother, as a father, maybe I can see that. But as a man or as a woman, hey Brian. I mean, yeah. Brian says as a male, I don't say as a man.
As a man, I caught a fish.
Yeah, like do you
No.
do you see how stupid that sounds?
Yeah. I posted pictures of the fish I caught. I never said I did it as a man.
There you go.
You know, I caught a fish.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Pretty much. Okay.
You know
she
what,
then
though?
expressed. Mm-hmm.
As a rule, every time someone starts a sentence with "as," you know they're full of shit.
Yeah.
You kind of know that virtue signaling is happening because it's just manufacturing some kind of moral authority from the get-go.
Yeah. She then addressed the hypersexualization of Black Widow and Iron Man 2. All of that is related to that move away from the kind of hypersexualization of this character. And I mean, you look back at Iron Man 2, and while it was really fun and had a lot of great moments in it, the character is so sexualized. You know, you're a fucking assassin. You're a spy assassin.
She wasn't that sexualized either, though.
No, and she's wearing a full bodysuit in that hallway scene, so it's not like she's fighting them in a bikini or anything like that.
No,
and sometimes it's they conflate sexualization with provocativeness.
Yeah,
and that's what she was. She was being provocative. That's how she was. Like basically, she was even in her quote unquote demure moments when she was like acting as like that secretary. She's still provocative about that, but it wasn't sexualized.
No.
Even when Tony Stark said, "I want one," it was because he witnessed her kicking Happy Hogan's ass. It's like, "Oh, she's a badass. I want one." That's not like what it was. And then you find out who she was, and like, oh, that makes fucking sense. She's Black Widow, so of course she's going to do this shit.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah, she wore a cocktail dress in the first Avengers movie, and she kicked a bunch of guys' asses while she was wearing that cocktail dress tied to a chair. It's because that character is a badass. Like, she's on the phone saying, like, you know, why did you call me? I was just about to get this idiot to give up the information. When he thinks that he's getting her to give up the information.
It's actually a very cool scene. It's one of the best Black Widow scenes, to be honest, because it shows her competence big time.
Yes. Basically demonstrating that she had the upper hand. Like the whole time, she had the upper hand. That's it. And Dreamer's like clutches pearls, yes. So the fact that she's coming out and saying this now, it's almost like she's purposely trying to tank her own film. Part of me doesn't think that she's doing that, but at the same time, like I can't help but think that is she actually intentionally trying to tank this movie? I don't know. She continued.
She's trying to make up excuses for why the movie she knows is going to tank. Yeah.
She continued, really talked about like she's a piece of something, like a position or a thing or whatever, like a piece of ass, really. And Tony even refers to something like that at one point. What does he say? Okay, he says, I want one. Yeah, so.
Also, even if Tony Stark did that, so what? He's like a playboy.
He even got the line wrong. After being prompted by Collider's Ashley Robinson, she continued, I want some. He says, I want one. Not I want some, oh my fucking God. Again, not the biggest MCU fan, even though I liked the early Marvel films for the most part. I know that line is fucking wrong. He says, I want one. No, I care, Michael. Good to see you back. Yeah, I saw that. I didn't read the article, but Steven Dorff basically called her out. Yep. Deacon Frost called her out. Glibly. It's called Pretty Privilege. Yes, it is. Hey, Sam McCabe. Dread Saber Phil. I wish she would have used a different move than the Hurricane Rana on Happy like a boxing combo. So, but like each their own. So no, well, that's okay, Michael. I'm hoping you're at least enjoying this stream. I'm hoping you're at least enjoying this one. So, but yeah. So again, like I remember the line and she doesn't. He says, "I want one." Yeah, and at one point calls her a piece of meat, and maybe at that time that actually felt like a compliment. I don't remember that. Do you?
No.
I mean, granted I'd have to go back and rewatch Iron Man 2, but I'm pretty sure if he did something like that, it would have stuck out.
Yeah,
it would have like stuck out to people. Like, you know, it's like really, like you're reducing Tony Stark to like a chauvinist pig, even though he is pretty much a narcissist.
Yeah.
But
he's basically a smart, rich version of Ash from Evil Dead.
Mm-hmm. And basically he's a dick, but like he's not like not be like at that level of like, you know, it's like to call her a piece of meat or something like that.
Yeah, no, he might treat her as a piece of meat, you know, because he does that with women in the early movies. But it's part of the character,
movie especially. Yeah, in the first movie especially, and in the second one. So,
which makes Pepper important because she's the one who makes him grow as a character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know, character growth. Imagine that.
Yeah. Oh my God, shocking. Johansson elaborated, maybe I even would have, you know, my own self-worth was probably measured against the type of comment or like a lot of young. How are these people paid as much as they do? They can't even speak properly. Was probably measured against that type of comment, or like a lot of young women, you come into your own and you understand your own self-worth. It's changing now. So basically you're saying you're stupid, or you're at the very least stupid, or at the very most right now, a fucking liar.
I think she's deluded. I think
she drank the Kool-Aid, essentially.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in Hollywood are just
a really expensive lawsuit. Yes.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in Hollywood are just saying what they're expected to say, even though they don't believe it themselves. Because
hey, Hound.
As soon as someone calls out the bullshit, they get boycotted. You know.
And so, yeah, Sonny Brave Megatron says, and if he did, he probably said it jokingly. Yes, he's a smarmy son of a bitch. He's a narcissist. He quips. He's the one in Avengers who was like, with the one-liners, but they actually funny one-liners. And that's because Robert Downey Jr. is a very good actor. And he's like, that man's playing Gallica. You didn't think we saw, but we did. And he's like, he's pointing that shit out. And he talks to Bruce. He's talking to Bruce Banner, and they're like both very intelligent individuals. And he's like, finally, a man who can speak English or something like that. And like, he's the humorous one, and he does so in that way. So if he did, like Sonny Brave Megatron says, he probably was joking if he did, but I don't remember that. So thank you, Michael. Good question is to ask: was Tony Stark's lechery portrayed in a good light or negative? It's part of Tony Stark's character in a way. So it's like, I have no complaints about that because Robert Downey Jr. became Tony Stark. He became Iron Man. He literally took just about the character from page to film.
You know what they should have done with the Galaga scene?
Mm-hmm.
Should have had Nick Fury just look at the guy and go, "What's your high score?"
That would have been a good. That would have been a good line, like Nick Fury.
Yeah, just have all of them just become really interested in the game for like a Yeah, just have a little interaction there.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. She concluded, now people, young girls, are getting a much more positive message, but it's been incredible to be a part of that shift and be able to come out the other side and be part of that old story, but also progress, evolve. I think it's pretty cool. Thank you for tanking your own movie, pretty much. What do you make of Johansson's recent comments? Okay. Well, I make of them as, I think, part of me thinks overall the movie's going to do well, but this shit, the director saying she hasn't read any comics, the director of the vice president of production saying that they're going to work to not objectify women in the future. The rumors I'm hearing, which I think are jiving to be true, that Taskmaster was gender swapped in this movie. That David Harbour's character is being treated like a joke. Yeah.
You know what? I just want to point out that Scarlett's last name is Swedish.
Oh yeah.
Called it. That's why she's a bimbo.
So there it is. Pretty much, I'd say, if not dead, then Marvel Studios is on their way to being dead. And if Warner Brothers didn't have their heads up their asses, Warner Brothers pretty much proves that retarded asshats can get ahead in life.
Oh yeah.
If they didn't have their heads up their asses, Warner Brothers could outpace Marvel like that. But they're not. And the reason why is because they're stupid. I mean, Marvel is killing themselves.
They could just seize the throne that easily now.
Mm-hmm.
But sadly, they have their own morons running the ship. So,
and this is why, and you can roll your eyes at me all you want, Stig, this is why anime is the way to go now. Anime and manga is the way to go now, because just about the comic industry is just about dead. Marvel Studios is dying now, because no one's really interested in anything post Endgame for the most part, and Warner Brothers can't seem to find their own asses.
Well, I'm not an anime fan at all, but I agree with you. I agree 100% because they are focusing on actual stories.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just putting a lot of checked boxes into a movie and just hope people like it, or rather order people to like it.
Yes.
So this is coming from someone who doesn't like anime at all. And, anime is doing great compared to everyone else. It's just the truth. Pretty much.
Because like I said, there are memes about how Japanese responsible for the world's weirdest shit since the 1970s, but at the same time they're also responsible for actual stories that people are invested in because they don't cater to social justice activism or anything like that. They just give us good characters and good stories, and sometimes the stories don't exactly hit, but at the same time it's not because of identity politics. It's because maybe you don't like the story, and that's it, or the characters. That's it. That's essentially what stories are supposed to be.
You know what, though? Even the audience is different, because if I say I didn't like Wonder Woman, then I immediately get called a sexist, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I say I don't like this and that anime, people will tell me, what the hell's wrong with you, but they'll never call me an ist.
No. And I will say this, Dreamer, aren't woke already coming for anime? Yeah, they are. As the Soul Assassin pointed out, this Star Wars is going that route because they know manga is hot right now. Sony has already abandoned the Japanese video game industry. This Western side of things, yeah, I would agree to that to an extent. But the Japanese side of things, you would actually the Japanese studios themselves, do not cater to that bullshit. They do not cater to that bullshit at all. So I got into Demon Slayer. I watched the first season and I watched the movie. I absolutely love it. Waiting for season 2. I enjoyed very much Attack on Titan. I'm waiting to give an overall score of that because I'm waiting for the final part of the final season. It's supposed to come out later on this year. I absolutely love Black Lagoon. I started watching Claymore.
I started Black Lagoon. Be proud of me. Yes.
What did you think?
I watched one episode. I like the shootout at the pub.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think?
That lady, pretty much psycho. but fun so far. Yeah.
See the chibi up I have in the right corner? That's Revy. So I love Revy.
What's a chibi?
It's kind of like see how that's the style of drawing right there that you don't like in anime.
Yeah.
But that's Revy up there in the corner. I started and I never got to finish it because I started school and I need to get back into watching Death Note. But Death Note I'm hearing is excellent. The anime is, not the Netflix production, but the anime is excellent. Berserk is also, I'm hearing, is excellent. Like so many.
Castlevania. I watched that one.
There you go. Anime.
Yeah. I liked Castlevania. I thought it was a wee bit Michael Bay-ish at times, but fine. You know, it's okay. 7 out of 10.
Well, there you go. It's a decent score.
Yeah.
JM 2021. It seems that the media is framing ScarJo to be some manifestation of Brie Larson, but that is not who Scarlett is, but that's the direction they want to take this. I would agree with that. I would agree with that too. Like pretty much the way the marketing is going. And John Jenkins for $5. Thank you so much. Was going to see this until the marketing started. Not wasting my money on it. I'm spending more on entertaining content here. Yeah. Yeah. That's basically it's kind of like not that anybody was really anticipating the Birds of Prey movie, especially after the trailer, but they probably would have done better if they would have shut Ewan McGregor up, they would have shut Kathy Ann up, and would have actually just marketed the movie as like, the please come see our film, we hope you enjoy it approach, not it's going to tackle misogyny. I did not see that in the movie. I was bored as fuck watching the movie, and that's like the biggest sin I could see in that movie. That and the fact that they turned the Gotham PD into fucking pussies. Because you have Harley Quinn coming with a fucking beanbag gun. And you have a police station full of cops who have guns. Not one of them thought to draw on her and shoot her. Really? That's how stupid that movie was. But it was not because that they were tackling misogyny or anything like that, or any politics. It was because it was just fucking stupid. But there's that. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. I actually did go to see that movie in theaters, and I have the ticket stubs somewhere, so I can actually prove that I spent fucking money to go see that movie. There's like only a few other people in the theater with me, but I saw it. It says it's going to tackle misogyny is the most surefire way to get me to put my wallet back into my pocket. Pretty much it. I only saw it because I was doing my Saturday live stream, and I figured, well, we'll devote that live stream to talking about it, so I have to watch it somehow. And I actually paid money to see it. It was a matinee price, but I paid money to see it. So there it is. All right. Last topic, and it's a good thing I have Steak here because it's talking about He-Man and what the Netflix director, not of the program, I don't think, but is saying about why they race swapped a couple characters in Masters of the Universe Revelations.
Yeah, interesting though that Kevin Smith last year said they would not be redesigning any of the characters.
Well, that's a fucking lie.
Yeah, because that there is redesigned. The lady in the middle, is Andra.
Mm-hmm.
She is a blonde chick from the original He-Man. I think she was mostly in the comics though. So it's a very I'd say a obscure character, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So not a big deal, but still, it's redesigned.
He did.
She doesn't even have the same outfit.
Yeah.
And Tila is, you know what? If someone showed me that picture without context of just Tila, I wouldn't know who that was supposed to be.
Yeah.
I would have thought it was some anime, I don't know, something from Street Fighter or whatever. You know?
Something like that, but like definitely does not scream Tila.
No.
But anyway, the Netflix director claims King Grayskull and Andra race swapped in Masters of the Universe Revelations because new characters, quote, could be easily rejected. To that, I say Demon Slayer. That's taking the Western world by storm, was introducing new characters.
Why would so new characters could be easily rejected, but what they're doing though is they're just keeping the character's name and making a new character anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So Andra in this case is a new character.
Yeah. Which they kind of could have done if they wanted to, let me put it this way, like, just to back up in kind of in a comparison approach. The original Ghostbusters, Winston Zeddemore was essentially the everyman. He was essentially the embodiment of the audience being in the movie and having basically the everyday man's perspective, everyday person's perspective on the situation. That's what Ernie Hudson's character was. Essentially, initially. It was kind of like taking the audience and putting them into the film, and this is what our reactions would be in a given situation. Because he wasn't a scientist or anything like that, or at least anything established like that until later on. You could have had a character like that, create a new character, which is essentially the audience in the world. Like a new warrior. A new warrior who's grown up on in their world, who's now fighting alongside Teela and He-Man.
Back in the day when the original show was running, it was over 100 episodes, probably closer to 200. I don't know. They introduced new characters all the time.
Yeah, so I'm saying
they weren't rejected.
Yeah,
I mean, He-Man of all things is proof that new characters, if done well, will get accepted.
Which is what Hound says. New characters can be easily rejected if they are shitty, and not if they are pretty damn good. That's essentially it. Like, basically, like I said, Demon Slayer are new characters. It's a new series entirely. Like, it's not has anything established before it, and it is loved in both Japan and in the Western cultures. New characters because they are good characters.
Yeah,
and
I mean, Star Wars: Empire Strikes Back. Lando was introduced, and Yoda. Nobody hated them.
No, new characters because they were good characters.
Yeah, and Palpatine was introduced.
Memes. Yeah,
probably three of the best characters in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Basically new characters.
Yeah, and then Episode 1, Qui-Gon Jinn, Darth Maul.
Oh hell, like just about Samuel L. Jackson as Mace Windu.
Yeah.
Darth Maul, Qui-Gon Jinn, Queen Amidala. Like Queen Amidala, you never saw her before in any of the movies. I'm not saying that she was like exactly accepted necessarily, but she was a new character.
Jango Fett.
Yeah, she wasn't rejected. Jango Fett in Attack of the Clones, he wasn't rejected because he was a pretty cool character for the screen time he had.
Yeah, Count Dooku. He wasn't in it a lot at all, but he was. Christopher Lee is always awesome, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, so it's probably not a good example. I'm trying to think of like new characters.
Actually, Toriel from the Hobbit movies. I know book fans don't like her, but the characters, there's nothing wrong with the character. The character's fine.
I'll agree to an extent. I'll agree to an extent.
Yeah, because
but that was more studio interference than anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, like to an extent, her character was fine. Like is a non-canonical character that worked for the most part in the Hobbit movies. My problem was her taking away from established canonical characters like Beorn. Like took away from his part to focus on her, and I'm like, I don't want to see her. I want to see Beorn. Beorn's the badass. Show me him.
Yeah, he was in it a little bit in the extent. He got more screen time in the extended versions.
Yeah, but he should have gotten more screen time in the theatrical ones. Is my point. I know he got like extended scenes, like, especially the scene where the dwarves they find his hut or whatever you want to call it, and you first meet him. But basically, his team was reduced there, and then in the Battle of the Five Armies, all you see him do is be dropped from from the sky by an eagle and change into a bear as he's falling, and then land, and then like bum rush all these orcs.
Yeah, that was stupid.
Yeah, so I'm like saying you. That's why I was like, I'm saying, like, yes, on one hand, the character Toriel is not bad necessarily, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm watching these movies because I want to watch these characters that I love, not a new one because you need girls to have a female character to look up to, which is essentially what Peter Jackson said at one point. Like,
and look at TV shows like Buffy. That one introduced new characters all the time, like Faith. Everyone liked her. Mm-hmm. Spike.
Oh, Spike! I love Spike. Yeah, like, but they're new characters. But basically, like Buffy, like the only one in that show, essentially, or two, I should say, in that show that at all is like connected to like the movie that came before it in a way, in terms of like the established characters, were Buffy and Giles. Her, like, I guess he was called like her watcher or something like that.
Yeah. That's
it. The other characters like Xander, Willow, Spike, Faith,
Cordelia.
Yeah, I can't remember what her name was. Shit. But all new characters. You never seen any of those characters before at all.
Yeah.
Never saw them before at all. But the show took off, and I like absolutely loved it when I was going to school. Every evening it was on, not every evening, but once a week when it was on, it's like, set aside, I'm watching the show. Boom. On the TV.
You know what though? Given how pop culture is going these days,
mm-hmm.
it would be fun if like a bunch of people went back to that time and watched one episode of some show a week and then talked about that as if it was brand new.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because then you'd have people talking about something they like, and that's good,
Mm-hmm.
And if a lot of people did that, it would send a message like, look, we're not talking about your shitty Loki show. We're talking about the X-Files or something.
Yeah. I'll give you this, Michael. I can see the Netflix fudging the numbers a bit.
Oh, yeah.
And so I can see them doing that. And Trey points out, Michael Myers is a new character. Now it's 43-year-old legacy. So if a character is good, we're going to accept him or her. If they're shitty, then we reject them. They're not easily rejected in terms of just because they're new. It's if they're good or not. And I'm not going to go into this article because it's about 9:40 and I want to start wrapping this up a little bit, but
isn't it telling though? They're like, mm-hmm. Yeah, we're changing the skin color of this character,
mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't be rejected.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it's still the white character then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, basically, yeah. So basically,
they racist by itself, really. Yeah.
So basically, they race swap King Grayskull and Andra. Did you see? I think you see King Grayskull behind Prince Adam here. I want to get to okay. So basically, I guess this is a Facebook group. And it says it's a He-Man She-Ra fan group, Shadow Weaver's Realm, whereupon it was met with disappointment by a black member of the group who stated, and this is talking about the race swapping. It says, I prefer making new unique black characters than race swapping originally white characters. Instead of wearing your own shirt, you're getting a hand-me-down shirt from someone else, added the fan. So here's screenshots, basically. So this is what the fan says. Okay? Just basically emphasis, it's a black fan saying that he's sick and tired of the race. He doesn't like the race swapping. He's sick and tired of it.
He's spot on. It's lazy as shit.
So to that, where is his title? Anyway, this guy here, Ted Biaselli, responds to him and says, I hear you, and that will indeed be part of our story too. But a big hurdle when you're introducing a new character to a line of so many well-established characters is that they are bound to be outsiders and harder to accept as canon, at least for a while. Which, to a slight extent, I agree with, because these are new characters. You don't know any of their backstories or anything like that. So it's going to take a while for people to warm up to these characters. However, if the characters are good, it won't take that long to warm up to them because people will readily accept them.
Yeah, good writing.
Yes.
That's all it takes.
So he says here about King Grayskull. I wish I could take credit for being the one with the idea to make Grayskull black. I wish I was the white savior in that instance, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Because now, in the history of all champions of Grayskull, a black man has a role of prominence. Good job.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you want, a fucking cookie? So let me scroll down. And like they point out, and Bounty Comics points out, and also this guy points out about Clamp.
Yeah, and to be honest, look at him. He has like a gun thing with a clamp on it. It's dumb as shit. That's a bad character. Basically, he needs that big device in order to clamp someone's wrist.
Okay.
You know, that's what's special about him. It is a dumb character.
But they could have maybe taken that character and improved him. But like it's an actual existing character that people know and say, this was stupid when they did it here. So let's rework the character so he is so he's better, essentially. It's what they could have done, but it's an actual established character.
Oh, look at that though. On the same thing with Andra thing further up. Andra was a new character back in the day. She was introduced in the comics like 6 or 7 years after the franchise had first started, and she has a good following. Okay, so why change her then?
Well, that's what he points out here. This is the quote. Same thing with Andra. She was initially created as a new character. It was my idea to dig into the lore and raise up a character who had a small appearance but a strong following. People have been wanting to see Teela and Andra fight side by side for a while, as opposed to creating a new character that could be easily rejected. Honestly, do we really need 2 badass redheads? Wait, hold on. I thought...
Well, it's
2 badass...
Back in the day... Back in the day, Andra was a new character, and she wasn't rejected. So
yeah, but she wasn't a redhead either, wasn't she?
No, she was blonde. Yeah, but that there just proves it. If you write a good new character, it won't be rejected, because that's what happened to Andra in the first place.
Yeah, but
he's basically contradicting himself.
Also, Teela was blonde as well, right?
No, Teela was
she was a redhead. Okay, she was a redhead. So they make Andra blonde. Like, why? Like, why is he saying, honestly, do we really need 2 badass redheads? No, you don't fucking need 2 badass redheads necessarily, because Andra's a blonde. Masters of the Universe had no women of color, and we saw an opportunity and took it. There it is. Why not give little black girls a hero that looks like them? Because that's all black girls need to look up to a person. Are they black like me? Good job reducing young girls to their skin color.
Yeah. Young girls are skin deep. That's what he's saying.
Good fucking job. That's what he's saying here.
I just sent you posted a picture of the original Andra in the private chat. You can look for yourself. It does not look like, it doesn't even have the same outfit.
Yeah. So, check that out. But like basically, they're probably terrified to make a new black character. They're terrified because if they were to actually create a new black character, it would show how racist the entertainment industry is. They haven't really changed at all. I'm not professing to be an expert or anything like that on necessarily the matter, but I grew up watching movies from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and so on. So I saw how black actors and actresses were represented in those earlier films. They were reduced essentially to servants.
Yeah,
maids and so forth.
I'm going to agree with them for a little bit though, because the only black character in Masters of the Universe was the Clamp Champ guy. That's it. It's true what he's saying that there were no black females. So adding that is perfectly fine. It probably should be done too. But because there's only one black guy there. Where's the other black people?
Adding a separate character, that's one thing, but they're race swapping the existing one.
Yeah, that's the problem. Don't fuck with established stuff. Just make a new one.
They're not creative enough to create a new one because also like not creative, and also, like I said, the entertainment industry is still racist to an extent. They are just on the opposite spectrum. And when I say opposite spectrum, I mean they're no longer portrayed as like servants; they're tokens.
Yeah,
Is what they
get minimal effort, and
yes.
It's basically what they're doing now. They're gender swapping or race swapping. That's what they
Yes.
do.
And
It takes no effort. Basically, you just get let's say I'm going to make a Nightwing movie, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to cast you, Mara, as Nightwing because we made a female version of the outfit, and that's going to be great. It's lazy.
Yeah, it pretty much is. It not pretty much. It is lazy because it shows that like you don't have the creativity to come up with a character from scratch. You have to take the attributes of an already established written character and just change the skin color because
it's insulting.
You can't have two badass redheads, or you can't have two white women teaming up together. You know, you have to have representation, and here's the representation we're getting, folks.
It's insulting though, because basically what they're saying is, here's a part for you. We made no effort in the writing.
And here, I will agree with this. Nick says, "Are little black girls not worthy of their own original characters?" Apparently not. Apparently they're only worthy of hand-me-downs, as that fan pointed out. It's what they're worthy of. No effort whatsoever. Minimal effort is what they're worthy of in their eyes.
Basically, they're feeding the minorities scraps.
Yeah. That's why I said there's still racism in the entertainment industry. It's just...
It's basically,
not really out in the open, but it's still there.
It's just, here's a treat for you. It's a muffin. That white guy over there licked it, but it's for you.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. But I'm going to start wrapping it up here. It is now 10 minutes to 10. We've been going for, well, when I finally was able to get back on, we've been going for about an hour and 15 minutes. So while I go look for that movie again, and if I can't find it, I will try to remember to get it. But let everybody know all about you again, Stieg, and I will be back in about a couple minutes. So give me a couple minutes.
I don't talk about myself that long.
Well, you got to entertain the chat somehow.
Oh, well, yeah. I'm just a fellow from Norway that's opinionated. That's it. Nothing special, nothing fancy. Completely average, but nerdy. But I do like football as well. That is English football, which you guys called soccer, which is stupid. It's called football.
Actually found it. Found it.
Other than that, I'm on Twitter.
This is the movie. Okay, and I'll read the back while I'm showing you guys the DVD cover.
It looks like Sinead O'Connor.
At an exclusive university campus, dead bodies begin to appear all over the place. The police are baffled, totally unaware that behind this trivial facade is a deadly and ruthless serial killer. She is the perfect cross between Hannibal Lecter and Paris Hilton, a cannibalistic psychopath with a wardrobe to die for. But something sinister is starting to manifest as her victims emerge from the carnage as zombies with one thing only on their minds: deadly revenge. Paying homage to many of the genre classic sexy killers and instant cult hits with a heroine to die for. That's what this is called, Sexy Killer.
It's a Karen.
Yeah, but she's actually pretty badass. So that's the movie.
Yeah. Anyway, other than that, I'm on Twitter, and
you're welcome.
Yeah, and I don't have a YouTube channel on my own, so it's just I just show up when people want to talk to me. That's it.
I think they mean in terms of the fact that she uses her looks. That's what they mean by the Paris Hilton comment. But it's that's I watched that, and it's like I said, it's strange, but it's worth the watch just to see what it's like. But yep. So thank you, Stieg, for joining me again on the Cringe Factory. Found those gems to talk about, so hope you all enjoyed it. Hey, Borg Porg, if you're just joining, and Tack Shark, hope you enjoyed the going back and watching the replay and enjoying the content. So you have Marvel Studios pretty much just about not necessarily dead in the water, but close to it. They're floundering at this point, especially with the vice president of production shooting off her mouth. you have ScarJo seemingly doubling down on the kind of the woke marketing for Black Widow movie, and then you have He-Man, which is would have been probably well received, is now also probably going to be dead in the water on Netflix. So there is that. And again, for those who are joining in the chat, if you look in the description, I included links for Lethal Lightning's live and gaming channels. If you're not subscribed to either of those channels, I would appreciate if you check him out and give him a follow over there, especially the live channel. He is trying to get that channel monetized, and he needs 1,000 subscribers to do so. He already has the watch time. He just needs the subscriber count, and he needs to get to 1,000 by roughly September timeframe, or else, according to new YouTube policies, he'll lose watch time hours. So go check him out. I think if you like my content, you'll definitely like his content. And again,
if you don't sub to Lethal, I'm going to kick a kitten, film it, put it up on YouTube, and tag you guys in it and claim you guys made it happen. So sub to Lethal. Well, the kitten gets it.
Who needs it? In the description, there are the links. His name is Lethal Lightning, and he has a live channel and a gaming channel, as well as his main channel. So you can find him like searching Lethal Lightning or through his 2 other channels that I put in the description. But basically, he's trying to get those channels monetized, and he's working on the live channel right now in particular, so he can get that monetized by September. So basically, yeah, we have to deal with Stig if you don't sub to Lethal. So like I said, if you like my content, you'll definitely like his. He basically is an Aussie who says it like it is. And if you like his opinion, fine. If you don't, well, it's his opinion, and you're more than welcome to disagree with him if you choose. So in about 5 minutes, I believe it's the Gaming with Geeks Call of Duty stream. So if you enjoy watching people play Call of Duty, Warzone, I believe it's Warzone Wednesday. Go check it out over there on Twitch. I'm going to try to do this again next Wednesday. Can't promise anything based on my schedule, but we'll see. If tomorrow, about 8 p.m. or so, I'm planning on going live. Or you're more than welcome to. I don't know if you'll find the number for the Aussie police, but I think you'll like him. He's awesome. Of course. Yeah, Nick McCabe, he's awesome. You'll like him. What was I going to say? Tomorrow on Twitch, I do have a Twitch channel, Jade_Fire. I'm going to be playing more Resident Evil Village. I'm on my way to finishing the part with Moreau. I raged last time because that part really pissed me off. But I hope you enjoy watching me get frustrated again on that game. So hope you all have a good rest of your evening or a good rest of your day, depending on where you are in the world. And good night. Thank you again to Stig. Hope to see you again next week. Tune in also Saturday for Talk Nerdy to Us at 10 p.m. Eastern that I do with My Nerdy Home. It'll be on my channel this coming Saturday. Again, 10 p.m. Eastern. And we'll talk more pop culture, news, and cringe. So good night, everyone. Stay safe. And have a good rest of your day or evening. Peace.
Have a good night.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.